So the internet was aflame with rage after I posted 2 videos about how cool people hold Coronas in the Fast and the Furious movies, and Vince's Corona Jack of Brian at the barbecue just didn't make the cut. People were arguing that it was really cool for Vince to steal Brian's Corona and waterfall it into his mouth when he came back to the barbecue. I'm here to argue that it's not, but subjective opinion is unimportant to me. Here I will be presenting 5 pillars of my anti-Vince argument and letting you decide for yourself. The pillars of my argument will be: number 1, the tit-for-tat imbalance. Number 2, the general sulkiness. Number 3, the sartorial decision-making. Number 4, the cootie aversion. And number 5, the no you are predicament. We'll start with the tit-for-tat imbalance. I believe Vince's intention for this Corona jacking was to level the playing field after Brian did the same to him at the Toretto house party. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Brian's drinking of Vince's Corona was already retribution for A, Vince not showing up for Dom after the first race,
Buster kept me out of handcuffs.
and B, Vince trying to fight with Brian after his tuna sandwich, all because Vince is stuck in a submarine descending into the deepest depths of the friend zone. So Vince thinks, haha, I got him back. But in reality, he unbalanced the scales when the initial Corona jacking from Brian was the thing that leveled the scales to begin with. Number 2 is the general sulkiness. Vince is acting like a toddler here. He pouts and leaves his best friend's barbecue in a huff and a puff and peels off just because the guy who wants to date the girl he likes showed up, even though that guy never did anything to you besides say that he likes the tuna there. If you're Vince, after you sulk back in, get called Coyotes R Us, and kiss Dominic on the head, you don't get to just show up to the table and try to alpha somebody else. That's not how it works. That's like if a 12-year-old cried because he didn't want to eat Brussels sprouts and then grittied out of his room afterwards back to the table to eat dessert. Number 3 is the sartorial decision making. I don't think it's possible to be cool the way Vince looks here. I know 2001 was a different time, but having the double tank tops on with the fishnet and even the double leather cuff, like, brother, like, yeah, I get maybe he looked cool in 2001, and honestly, if he was nicer to these people in these movies, I might say he looks sick, but he's mean and he's nasty, and his armpits are out. Just relax. Number 4 is the aversion to cooties. Vince clearly waterfalls Brian's beer because he's trying to avoid touching his lips to the same bottle that Brian touched his lips to. But Brian handled the cootie situation the best possible way at the house party. He looked Vince dead in his weasel eyes and rubbed his saliva off the top with his cool t-shirt. But Vince here is acting like Brian is the one that's sweaty. Brian is the one with his armpits out. Brian is the one with the scruffy beard. Brian is the one who looks like he hasn't showered in 8 weeks. Don't act like this well-kempt, well-put-together, blonde, hot guy has so many germs that you just can't bear sucking on the same bottle as he did. Number 5 is the no you are predicament. I think we all remember being kids, being on the playground and getting called a name like stupid or dumb or goofy, and then we would just say, no, you are stupid. No, you're dumb. No, you're goofy. I think calling someone the same name or doing the same thing to them as they did to you, if Vince truly felt this retaliation was necessary, he could have been way more creative with the stuff he came up with. He could have filled Brian's Supra with jelly beans. He could have threw the floppy disk Jesse used to design the Supra into the ocean. There's boatloads of options for him, but he just chose to say, oh, I'm going to do the same thing to you as you did to me, and call it even. We've already been over this, brother. You're not evening any scales here. In conclusion, what looks like a really cool, smooth Corona jacking from Vince just doesn't survive any thoughtful scrutiny. Vince taking Brian's Corona and pouring it into his mouth was just lame and desperate and sad and insecure. I mean, yeah, on its face, it is super sick, but all the context around it we need to acknowledge. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.